Welcome to my messy library. Let's talk about writing. Happy Nanowrimo Day! It is also Halloween. Happy Halloween. I love Halloween, so I don't want to forget it, but it's also the start of Nanowrimo. I'm so excited. So I'm actually hiding kind of in a hallway in my house. My kid's here, she's asleep. I'm trying not to wake her up, but I also wanted to make sure I got this video out tonight before Nanowrimo hits at midnight. So I have a collection of clips from this last week of planning my novel that I wanted to share. Some really important stuff, at least for me, that I kind of learned through the process of the last little bit of drafting the outline that I wanted to share with you guys, just in general to celebrate. I will be posting weekly vlogs, and I'll talk more about that later in the video for the whole of Nanowrimo, but I wanted to go ahead and share this vlog with you. So happy Nanowrimo start day. Here is my Preptober end vlog video, and I will see you soon with my first Preptober vlog, or my first Nanowrimo vlog. Hello. So it is like 7 o'clock in the morning, not even 7 o'clock in the morning, and it's the 25th of October. So I'm getting very close to starting Nanowrimo. I'm so excited. It's my favorite. Sorry, I have the like morning weirdness. So I just sat down to work on my plot outline and my little note cards that I have. Something that I wanted to like note and write down for myself for the future is that I had an idea, I don't know, last week when I was working on this, that I had really wanted to integrate two best friends for the two main characters. So this is a dual POV story. There's a female main and a male main, and it's a romance. And originally when I was thinking that through, I was like, oh, wouldn't it be cool if I could write a sequel with these two characters? And that's not like the top of my mind, but it's definitely bringing up a lot of ideas for scenes and like how the characters can all interact in scenes that I hadn't originally considered. But it's also bringing up a bunch of scenes where the characters to have just with their friends. And I think those scenes are going to be as important as any scenes where they're together, because those scenes are going to be where we see, you know, so much development in the characters that we don't see just with the family. And I think that's really important too, is to acknowledge, you know, who they are outside of the context of their family. So rewriting a bunch of scenes that I had already written that were a little bit not where I wanted them to be, not put together in a way that I liked, and adding in those secondary characters that I think are going to be really valuable to the story. And also kind of thinking through a rough outline of what their story could be like, so that I can kind of get that out of my head and also see where I could build on that, because I could see this being like a romance series, and I think that would be really fun. So that's what I'm working on right now. I also have a whole bunch of new scene ideas because of these characters that I want to bring in. So I probably have like, I don't know, 45 minutes or an hour to work. So I'm going to try to get as many scenes written out as possible, because it's, you know, not crunch time yet, but it's getting close to crunch time, especially with working a full-time job. Like, I have so much work to do right now. Like, work is really busy at the moment. So I want to get as much of this written out and planned as possible, so that I'm not making a bunch of plot decisions next week, and I have like a pretty good understanding of my plot. And I also want to get it all written out so that I can, you get started in writing faster, so that when I sit down and I have a, you know, I have an idea for the day, I have a set of scenes that I know I want to write, I have all the description for those scenes, I can just jump right in. So that's what I'm trying to get to today. I want to get these like 5 or 10 scenes out of my head, and maybe do a little bit of writing about this possible secondary plot for the future. Hello. So I am currently laying in bed. It is almost midnight on a Friday night. Almost Nanowrimo time. Almost Nanowrimo time. Like 3 days from being Nanowrimo time. I think it's the 29th. So I am working on prepping my Scrivener file and getting that all ready. Today I got all of my, like, I got it all saved in like a cloud sync folder with Microsoft OneDrive. so that I can work on like all of my computers, and I have all my computers set up so that like if I get 10 minutes of a break at work, or if I want to write like on lunch and I'm not at home, or wherever I want to work, it's all like synced together. So I'm really excited about that. I'm gonna flip my screen here so you can see a little bit. So this is what my Scrivener file is looking like right now. So I've gotten some of these in. I've got a color coding system really similar to my note cards. So blue is for my male main character, red is for my female main character, and then green are scenes that are like flashbacks or chapters. So these are the cards that I have left to add to the system. So like, I don't know, there's probably still like 20 in here. These are the ones I've added already, which is not very many. And this one was actually one that I didn't like the placement of, so it's kind of sitting waiting for me to find a place for it. So yeah, I'm getting everything ready to write. I'm really excited about this story. This is probably the first story I've ever like written that, you know, a lot of people tell you just write the stories that you want to read. Just write the stories that you want to read. And I think for a long time I haven't had like, I've had great ideas for stories I think other people want to read, but this is the first time that like the story that I'm writing is a story that I want to read. And not just a story that I want to read, like I want to see it happen. Like I already know what happens, right? I have an outline that's really fleshed out, but I want to read it. I want to see what happens. Like I'm really excited for these characters, even though it's going to be like a rough go of it throughout the story. Like they're gonna come out in a really happy place. I'm really excited about it, and I want to write it, and I still have 2 days of like waiting, so I can't wait till the 1st. I'm ready to get this going. I'm setting a really aggressive timeline and number goal for this, so yeah, I'm pumped, but I'm nervous and I'm excited, and I want to get this written because I think it's gonna be great. Like, this is probably the best, most exciting story I've written in a long time. So, hello everyone. It is October 30th. I am so excited that Nanowrimo is coming so soon. Like, I can't even state how excited I am to get started writing this story. So I spent this evening finishing up writing out my outline in Scrivener. So that process was kind of similar to actually writing the physical cards that I worked on, and I have all of those here. I did end up adding, I think, 5 throughout the process of course, sort of translating those, because that was really important. I added about 5 translating those over into the digital format. Something that I noticed, and I notice this every time I outline on paper first, is that by the time I get through my first paper outline, this is something I used to find when I did sort of rough drafts, but by the time I got through my paper outline, I had already found areas in the beginning that I wanted to adjust and to make a little bit better than they were originally, or just different than they were originally, to set up some new characters and things like that. So in the process of making this digital, I went through and did that. So I added in new characters in some spots. I added in, you know, character interactions in some spots that I had kind of characters that I had written into the outline in the second half of the story mostly. So I now have a pretty good breakdown, I think, of the main parts of the story that are the kickers, right? So there's the opening, and then the break into 2 are big, really important things for me as a writer. So the opening of the story, of course, is carrying, you know, all of the weight of getting a reader interested in the story, and I think that's mega important, obviously, to writing a story. But then the break into 2 was sort of where the story starts, and that sounds a little strange, but you know, the first 20% of the story is all about setting up the status quo and setting up why someone is reading the book in the first place. And then the break into 2 is really where it says, okay, now we're getting started. So I now have identified that, like, where that break into 2 point is in the story. So that was really key. And then I also have identified the sort of break into 3 not resolution, but the the downfall, you know, a lot of, I think it's called The Dark Night of the Soul in Save the Cat. So I've identified that as well. And then sort of I've written up the closing of the story. So I have the whole thing. I am so excited. I've never gotten this far into outlining. I have 35 chapters outlined, and it's about 5,200 words. So I'll go ahead and show you my screen here. So this is my Scrivener file, and I have a software update that's just gonna, ignore that. So this is my Scrivener file. As you can see, these are all of my cards digitally, and these are all of the chapters. The color coding is blue is present for Jake, the male main character. Red is present for Cameron, the female main character. Green is a flashback chapter for Cameron, and yellow is a flashback chapter for Jake. In each of the headers, I have written out the character perspective and the location where it takes place. So you see that all the way through, except for the epilogue, because it's kind of its own unique thing. So of course there's nothing written in any of these at this point, in any of the actual chapters. So I can go ahead and turn this guy into full screen, and we can look at it this way. So this is one of my favorite things about Scrivener, and I think I talked about it in my planning videos earlier. But now I can actually see in the timeline and make decisions on the timeline based on sort of what I'm seeing happen here, because this is the sort of chronological space that the story takes up. And you'll see all of my descriptions and stuff in each of these. And of course, again, the epilogue kind of exists outside of this infrastructure. So yeah, I'm super excited about this. Let's turn this guy off. Yeah, so I'm super excited about this. I really feel like these descriptions are going to give me a lot to work off of when I sit down, and that's a big key to outlining. Let me switch the camera really quick. So the key for me to outlining that I really felt was important was this is probably the busiest I've ever been for a NaNoWriMo. This is also probably the best mental state I've ever been in going into a NaNoWriMo. And I'm really excited about both of those things, right? Because the busyness is because, you know, my work is in a really successful place, and, you know, I'm being asked to take on a lot of responsibility, which is, you know, an honor. I'm also doing this YouTube thing now, which takes up, you know, actually not that much time, but it does still take up some time. I have a 2-year-old, which takes up a lot of time, and is the reason that I didn't win last year, because, you know, I don't want to say she's the reason, but having a 2-year-old was the reason. You know, it wasn't her fault, it was just the fault of the circumstance. She wasn't 2 then either, but besides the point. So I have a lot going on, but this, like, writing this story is more important to me than all of those things, if that makes sense. It sounds really cheesy, but this is the first time, and I probably said this in an earlier clip, this is the first time I feel like I'm really writing a story that is important to me, and not important to me because it represents me, or important to me because of, you know, what it stands for, or anything like that. It's just, this is the kind of story that I want to read, and I know that there aren't very many out there like it. There's one story that I know of that is similar to this one, and I loved it. I think that's one of the reasons I want to, you know, I wanted to take this on. But this feels like the first story that I could see other people relating to that I've written. And it's the first story, I think, that, I don't know, I don't want to say that it's really marketable, but I think it might be pretty marketable. And I think that's also valuable. But overall, outside of all of that, I'm just so excited to write it. Like, I'm so excited to write this story, and so I'm just absolutely pumped for tomorrow night. I'm definitely gonna stay up until midnight, even though it's a Sunday. I've got my Nanowrimo mugs. I got 2 a couple years ago, so I've got this one, which has some really cute scenes on the back, and then I have a gray one with balloons on it, so you'll be seeing a lot of those. And during the process of NaNoWrimo, so I will probably edit this tomorrow during the day. I'll probably have some other clips as well, but during the process of NaNoWrimo, I will be doing clips as I write, and daily check-ins, and then I'll have a weekly vlog style video to go up. Those will likely be really not edited, I would say. So I would bank on them being relatively low effort for me, just because writing is already relatively high effort. And I'm still, you know, running a household and all of the stuff that I already just said that I'm doing. So be on the lookout for those videos. I'm really excited about them. I also will still be reading throughout the month, because I think I've said it before, but in order to be a good reader, you must, or in order to be a good writer, you must read. And that is just essential, even if you're reading things like what you are writing or not. One way or the other, it doesn't really matter. You need to be reading. It's really important to continue to engage in the craft, I think. So also this month, I will be reading, I think I have 5 or 7 Christmas romance novels. Because I'm writing a Christmas romance, I wanted to also consume a bunch of Christmas romance. I've already started, and I've read 2 already. I read In the Holidays by Christina Lauren, and I gave it 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. I also read Dashing Through the Snow by Debbie Maycomer. Also really enjoyed that. That was a quick, like a 2.5 hour audiobook listen, like very fast to get through. It was probably just 2 hours. And it was like a 3-star, but it was still fun, you know, for just 2 hours. There is a Hallmark movie made from that one, so that should be fun if you're interested in that. But by the end of November, I'll also have a vlog, or well, it'll be a vlog, likely a vlog style, but I'll also have some recommendations, hopefully, for Christmas romances for you guys. So I'm really excited about that too, so definitely keep tuning in. So overall, and this will probably wrap up the video, I'm really excited that I have all of this planned and prepped. I have all of my characters ready. I've got these ideas for settings. I'm probably gonna do a little watercoloring this month, test out some like art skills for some of the settings and the scenes. I want to kind of get a good idea of how things look, and also let my creativity out in a different way. I think that'll be really important to being successful. So overall, just so excited for this month to get started. I love November, I love the holidays, and I just can't wait to kick off all of it. I'm just flattered that I get to share it with everyone online now, and I hope you guys will stick around for the weekly vlogs. Definitely hit the bell icon if you want to get notified of those, because there's going to be a lot of them. It might end up being less than weekly or more than weekly, depending on how it goes, you know. And, you know, hit the subscribe button if you're new here and you've never watched my videos before. And yeah, leave a comment below. Let me know how your Preptober went, and let me know if you have any big plans for November and what your writing days look like. I'm so excited. I'll talk to you guys soon, and thanks for visiting my Missy Library.